Hey everyone! I've created a new channel to explore even more amazing stories, which will also serve as a backup channel. I love to have you all in joining me on this new adventure. Channel link is in the description. Now back to the recap. The director speaks. This is a piece by a rising star in the art world. It recently won acclaim at the Academy Art Exhibition. It portrays the moon goddess, capturing the divine and unattainable desire of humans. Marquis speaks. How cliché. The director replies, my apologies, it seems I came ill-prepared. Then he thought, oh dear, I was so confident today. What kind of piece could satisfy this man? He is the most distinguished collector among all the art enthusiasts. Then he said, as usual, the pieces you have seen today will be prepared and sent to your residence in the usual manner. He thought, but since he always buys the pieces he sees here, as the gallery director, I can't afford to lose such a valuable patron. The Marquis does not care about the fame of the painting or the potential of a promising artist. His interest lies solely in the subject of the work, and that is nudes. I don't know why he is so fixated on the genre, but such curiosity often leads to trouble. The Marquis asks, what is that? The director replies, that piece, it is below standard. The Marquis says, show me. The director speaks, the style is unrefined. The model, while having a fine figure, gives off a sense of awkwardness and stiffness. It is definitely not a piece your lordship would be interested in. The Marquis asks, who is the artist? The director replies, they have not made their formal debut yet. I will check immediately and send you the details. Next scene. At the Pendant's mansion. Million speaks, lately, my parents have become so passionate about collecting art, that I can hardly tell if our home is a house or a gallery. At this rate, the entire Pendant's barony will end up on the streets. You haven't been here long, so you might not know, but there has been an art collecting craze in Beauharnois for years now. Oh, mother is also here. Pendant says, thank you for your efforts today. Would you care to join us for tea? We have some treats that arrived as a gift this morning. Riv replies, thank you for your kind offer. Pendant speaks, I was worried when our previous tutor left so suddenly, but I am glad we were introduced to you. So, you are not originally from Beauharnois? Riv replies, no, I am not. Pendant asks, then which family did you work for before coming here? A maid comes and whispers something. Pendant speaks, I am sorry, but we have to postpone tea time. An important guest has arrived. I will have the treats brought to you, so please wait here. Riv says, my lady, I am really all right. Cordia will be waiting for me at home. Then she thought, what kind of life allows one to collect such expensive artwork so effortlessly? I used to wonder about that, but I quickly stopped. After all, it is a world apart from mine. Art, to me, is a secret I must keep hidden forever. Suddenly, the Marquis arrives. A maid came and spoke, oh, your lordship. Riv thought, is this the important guest the Baroness mentioned? A famous and wealthy man who appeared in Beauharnois one day, known for his unsociable and sensitive nature. He rarely shows himself in public. This man is. She said, Lord Ditrion. The Marquis asked, and you are? Riv said, I apologize. The butler spoke, my lord, I am truly sorry. This is not the correct location, let me escort. The Marquis interrupted, I was not asking for an apology. Your answer, Riv replied, I am a governess at Lord Pendant's estate, Riv Royds, at your service. The Marquis stated, a governess, I will remember that. Riv thought, the eldest daughter of a middle-class family, with parents who were skilled artisans. Then my parents died in a carriage accident. After that, a sick younger sister with astronomical medical bills. I was left with nothing but my own incompetence. Brett said, Riv, your posture is too stiff again. What are you thinking about? Riv replied, I am sorry. Brett told her, a nude model does not need the poise of a proper lady. Honestly, a governess is a nude model. Riv thought about the Marquis' words. What if I get fired from the Pendant's estate over today's incident? Caritta's medical bills are unpaid, and the remaining debts. When will I ever escape this situation? Brett asked, are you sure you can't show your face? Riv replied, what do you mean by that? We agreed from the start that you would only draw my back. Absolutely not. Brett told her, but if we show even a bit of your face, the paintings will sell for more, then you wouldn't have to worry about money. Riv shouted, "No." Brett said, "All right." Then he looked at her face a little and said, "I get it." 10 days later, Riv asked, "You promised not to paint my face." Brett replied, "It's just your profile. No one will." Riv said, "Destroy the painting immediately." Brett spoke, "Now, it's already sold." Riv asked, "You sold a painting that shows my face?" She thought, "No, if it gets out that a governess did something like this, people would say a disgrace, such a filthy woman. Have you no shame? How vulgar, shameless seductress." Suddenly, a voice came, "I have come to collect my order." Riv spoke, "I am sorry, but the painting is not for sale. The model did not consent to it." Brett asked, "Could we take a moment to discuss the matter?" The person replied, "I only have orders to collect the painting. I don't have the authority to get involved with other matters." One moment, his lordship is in the carriage. Riv thought, "Is that the buyer? Please, I hope this goes well." The person came back and told them, "His lordship wishes to hear why the painting can't be sold." Brett replied, "Then let me meet him and explain." The person spoke, "No, he wishes to hear the reason directly from the model." Riv replied, "Due to the nature of the work, the model's identity will remain confidential, so the model does not wish to reveal herself." The person said, "If that is impossible, I can either take the painting or receive a refund." Brett said, "The thing is, the money." Riv asked, "Don't tell me you gambled again." The person told them, "We can't keep his lordship waiting any longer. Once you have made up your mind, come to this address, visit before evening." After that, Corida spoke, "You're finally here." Riv hugged her. Corida asked, "Did you have a tough day today? You've worked hard." Riv thought, "All right, let's get some money. If we can somehow do that, we won't have to give up the painting." After some time, Pendants asked, "Is there something you need?" Riv replied, "Well." Then she thought, "No, I can't ruin the trust we have just begun to build." She said, "No, I just wanted to say that Million kept up quite well with today's lesson." Pendants said, "That is unusual. It is all thanks to you." Next scene. Riv thought, "What do I do? It's already been 4 days. I don't have an answer. What should I do? God, please." The Marquis spoke, 4 days should have been enough time." Riv thought, "What does Lord Ditrion want with me? So that man was his aide. The address, no way." She said, "It is difficult right now, but as far as the painting cost, I will do whatever I can." The Marquis spoke, "Really? But how do you intend to manage that?" Riv asked, "Why is that here?" The Marquis replied, "The artist brought it the next day. The deal is already done." Riv said, "That painting violated the contract." The Marquis spoke, "Disputes between the model and the artist are not the buyer's concern." Riv emphasized, "Did you not express willingness to consider the model's reason for refusal? Was that not an indication of your intention to be considerate?" The Marquis replied, "That is right. However, I agreed to the transaction because of this painting's model. On what grounds does a governess of a baron's household speak to me in this manner?" Riv thought, "This man knows I am the model. The way he is speaking, it might be an attempt to make me give up the painting. But I have no other place to retreat to. The Marquis is close enough to visit the Pendant's household, so if the baron's wife happens to visit here." Then she said, "That is because I am the model in this painting." The Marquis asked, "How can I believe that? Do you have any solid evidence to prove it?" Riv told him, "Brett can testify." The Marquis asked, "But what if you are both deceiving me? I heard the model did not want to reveal her identity." Riv thought, "I can't convince the Marquis with words. How do I prove it? How on earth? If I show the Marquis that I am the model in that painting," she said, "if it is proof you want, then see for yourself." The Marquis replied, "No, this pose is different from the painting." Riv thought, "Endure it. The shame is only temporary. If this convinces the Marquis, it is worth it." Then she said, "My lord, I think this is the exact pose in the painting." The Marquis spoke, "You may dress now. You won't be able to pay for the painting anyway." Riv said, "If you could just grant me a little more time." The Marquis told her, "Let's skip the pointless negotiation. I want that painting." Riv replied, "Please, anything but that. I will have it redone without the model's face." Would that be all right? The Marquis replied, if you bring me another piece, I will let you have this one. Riv said, I am sure I can do that. No, I am certain. Brett is quick with his hands. The Marquis stated, however, there is one condition. I want to observe the process. Next scene. Riv asked, yes, we are going where? Million replied, as I was saying, I am going to learn to paint. The tutor will start next week. Riv said, it's the first time you have expressed interest in learning something. Million spoke, Lord Ditrion is so amazing. If I learn to paint, maybe I could have a conversation with him. He has such a keen interest in art. Riv replied, that is right. He did visit Lord Pendants to see the sculpture he purchased. Million told her, yes, but father didn't let me near because I might disturb him. You said you met the Marquis that day, didn't you? What was he like up close? Was he really as magnificent as a statue carved by the gods? Riv replied, I only caught a glimpse of him. Now, let's get back to our lesson, she thought. He was indeed hard to look away from, but more than that, it was those unreadable eyes. Million asked, by the way, did you hear the rumors? Riv asked, what rumors? Million said, the Marquis loves art, but there is something he truly collects. Then she whispered something. Next scene. Brett said, such soft brushes. And these paints, look at these vivid colors, to think I can work in a place like this. Riv thought, the Marquis's estate is surrounded by mountains and vast plains, and all these people are loyal to him, so whatever happens here won't get out. You could truly get away with murder in a place like this. Then she remembered Million telling her, they say there is a hidden room in the Marquis's basement, where he keeps real people preserved as specimens. She thought, but even if I were to be preserved, I can't believe I actually believed those rumors for a second. Everything is fine, nothing will happen, it is just a painting. But why does he want to observe the process? The Marquis came and told them, I ordered my staff to prepare everything in advance so as not to disrupt your work. Is there anything else you need? Brett replied, no, it is more than that, it is almost too much, it is truly an honor. I will create a masterpiece for you. The Marquis asked, as for the model, are you going to pose for a nude while covered up like that? Brett replied, of course not, undress immediately. Riv thought, I know you want to impress the Marquis, but you are being quite overbearing today. Still, I can't argue in front of the Marquis. Then the Marquis said, wait a moment, are you always so heavy-handed when you work? I know artists are sensitive, but honestly, it is rather grating. Brett replied, I am sorry, I will watch myself. Riv thought, do clients usually criticize the artist's attitude too? Could it be that he requested to observe just to find faults in the process? Surely not. The Marquis spoke, well then, you may begin. Riv thought, painting is a tedious task, so I can only hope the Marquis will quickly tire of this. Brett spoke, Riv, lower your right elbow slightly. Good, just like that. At this rate, we will be done in no time. Stay just like that. Suddenly, a glass shattered. Brett said, good heavens, are you all right, my lord? The Marquis replied, my hand slipped. Brett told him, I will go fetch a servant. Riv thought, it is not the first time I have shown my body, but it is still awkward to be left alone with the Marquis. How long has he been watching me like that? I can feel it. His stare, it is as if he is touching me, I can't stand it. Brett's voice came, I am sorry, I could not find a servant anywhere. The Marquis said, let's call it a day. Brett replied, but I was just getting into it. After that, Riv said, there really isn't anyone about. Brett replied, I told you, they must have withdrawn to avoid disturbing us, not a single soul in sight. Riv asked, doesn't it seem a bit strange that the wine glass fell by accident? It looked like it was pushed, and that there is no one in this vast mansion. Brett spoke, well, maybe the Lord just likes it quiet. There was a mishap, but it didn't really disrupt the work. Riv thought, he did watch quietly, as agreed, but why does it feel like I have attracted unwanted attention? After that, Riv thought, despite my doubts and unease, the paintings continued. The Marquis continued to oversee everything while interrupting the work with a series of accidents. She said, something is wrong. There have been so many interruptions, it has been days, and we haven't even finished the sketch. Brett told her, "Don't worry, I will work fast." Riv thought, "When we started, I was sure we would be done quickly." Scene change. Million spoke, "Miss, thank you for coming." Riv replied, "Happy birthday." She thought, "I only came because I couldn't ignore the invitation. I feel uncomfortable. I feel their stares. I should slip to the back and leave quietly." Marcel spoke, "Careful there." Riv said, "I apologize." Marcel asked, "Are you Miss Royds?" "We finally meet." Then he introduced himself. Riv asked, "So you are Million's art teacher?" Marcel replied, "Yes, and Million always speaks so highly of you. I have been eager to meet you, and I'm quite pleased to finally introduce myself." Riv said, "Thank you for your kind words." She thought, "Why is this man acting so familiar?" Riv said, "I am sorry, but I have to go." Marcel replied, "I apologize if I made you uncomfortable. I got ahead of myself. Actually, I wanted to ask for your guidance on teaching methods." Riv replied, "There is no method." Marcel told her, "But could you help me understand the boundaries I should keep? It is my first time teaching a young lady, and I am very cautious about everything. If meeting in person is too burdensome, you can reply by letter." Riv thought, "I suppose a male teacher might have some concerns." Then she said, "If it is about Million, I might be able to share a bit." Marcel asked, "Then may I have your address?" Riv thought, "Well, he doesn't seem like a bad person. This should be fine." The Marquis arrived. Riv thought, "Why is he here?" Marcel spoke, "It is surprising. He usually doesn't like crowded places." Riv asked, "Do you know much about Lord Dittrion?" Marcel replied, "Not really. I only know as much as everyone else does." Million's father spoke, "Your presence here is the most wonderful birthday gift for Million. You have no idea how much she wanted to see you." Riv thought, "Million, your wish has finally come true." Nobles whisper, "Do you really think the Marquis came all this way to celebrate the birthday of a baron's daughter? Surely not. He must have another important matter, or perhaps the baron pulled some strings. Look at how excited they are. It's like he's trying to sell his daughter, Lord Dittrion, at the Pendants estate. How absurd." Riv thought, "Oh dear, will Million be all right?" Then she remembered her past. A lady had once shouted, "Know your place. How dare a mere tutor try to seduce the eldest son of a viscount? I will make sure you never show your shameless face in the capital again." Marcel asked, "Miss, are you all right?" Riv replied, "I am fine, just a bit dizzy. I think I should go now." 3 days later, Riv received a letter. "Million is unwell and won't be able to attend lessons for a while. We will contact you by letter when lessons can resume." She thought, "What happened to Million? If the lessons stop, so will the tuition fee. How will I manage next month's expenses?" Riv asked, "Do you need anything?" Corida replied, "No, I am fine." But suddenly, she started coughing up blood. Riv asked, "Where is the medicine?" Corida replied, "We are all out." Riv thought, "That is all the money we have left." Then she said, "Just wait here, I will be right back." Scene change. Oben asked, "I was wondering why you hadn't come." Riv replied, "Please, I need Corida's medicine now." Oben told her, "Catch your breath first. Rushing won't make it appear any faster." Riv asked, "What is this?" Oben replied, "There has been a recent announcement about a new drug. It is said to be quite effective for people with Corida's illness. It might even cure them completely." Riv asked, "Where can we get it?" Oben replied, "Well, it probably won't reach a small pharmacy like ours, and it will likely be 10 times more expensive." Riv thought, "We are already struggling with costs as it is." Oben told her, "But since you work for a noble family, maybe you could use your connections. We both know all you can afford right now is medicine to keep Corida's illness from getting worse." Oben then said, "Maybe you will catch the eye of an eligible suitor and improve your life. You can't take care of your sick sister alone forever. Don't shut everyone out. Meet someone good. Share your burdens. You need someone by your side too." Scene change. Riv thought, "I can't be weak. Be strong. You have to be strong." Next moment she fell on the floor. Then, she pleaded, "No, stop, wait. Please don't step on it, please. This is important." After some time, she thought, "My head feels fuzzy. Today was so long." Thanks to the medicine, we got through the worst of it, but how long can we keep this up? The only place I can find peace in is the chapel. The truth is, I don't believe in God because God has never answered my prayers. From the time I, a commoner with nothing, entered a prestigious boarding school and had to get used to overcoming everything alone. When my parents passed away and during the tough times I faced while moving from one tutoring job to another, God was never on my side. Now, the only one I can rely on is Cora, but it seems even she is being taken from me. All I want is for someone to tell me I have done well and to truly support me so I don't collapse from exhaustion. All I ever wanted was someone to lean on. What is this? The Marquis stated, God may listen, but he does not grant wishes. It is humans who have the power to make things happen. So pray to me, who knows, you might just get a miracle. Riv thought a miracle. The word sounds so sweet. Can the Marquis really answer a prayer even God ignored? But if this is just to torment me because he thinks so little of me. The Marquis said, you always keep people waiting. Riv shouted, I need money. Then she quickly added, I'm sorry, that was a slip of the tongue. If you could just lift the clause in this contract with Brett, so I can take other modeling jobs. Sweetheart, what if my words displease the Marquis? What if he uses this as an excuse to get back at me? The Marquis asked, would you consider working extra hours? I will compensate you generously. I expect an answer and the return of that handkerchief at your next shift. Riv thought, extra hours, what is he thinking? It feels like my life is heading in an unexpected direction. Scene change. Riv spoke, here is the handkerchief you lent me, and about the extra hours you proposed. I would like to hear the details first. The Marquis replied, I can't tell you unless you promise you will do it. I don't want unnecessary chatter. Riv replied, I will do it. The Marquis said, someone will be waiting outside to explain and have you sign the contract. I look forward to working with you. Scene change. After that, Riv asked, the extra hours mean? The person responded, yes, you will be in the room with the Marquis, undressed. Riv asked, what do you mean? The person replied, of course, that is all that will be involved. You won't have to do anything beyond that, nor will you be put in danger, since you have verbally agreed. The Marquis will not accept a refusal. Scene change. Marquise's thoughts. She looked as solemn as a soldier heading to battle. When I first saw the painting, what caught my eye was the model awkwardly showing her back. In her uneasy posture, there was a lingering sense of shame. Her bare back expressed her despair. The painting itself was quite poor, but it was interesting, so I hinted to the painter to capture her face as best as he could. I was curious. What expression would a woman with such a back have? A maid came in and spoke, I will send this to the laundry, my lord. The Marquis suddenly remembered something, then said, throw it away. He thought, I still smell the nauseating scent of paint, let's see how this poor model does. The Marquis spoke, bring that model. After signing the contract, we start today. After that, Riv thought, everything is so white, almost to an obsessive degree. It is well known that Lord Marquis has a compulsion for cleanliness. He always wears gloves, and no one has ever seen his bare hands. Rumors about him being skilled in taxidermy, or accustomed to killing might simply be expressions of intrigue surrounding this enigmatic man. I wouldn't be surprised if such a man had certain proclivities or a sordid private life. The Marquis is beyond this door. The Marquis said, come in. Riv thought, how did he know I was here? It's okay. It's just extra work. The pay is generous for simply indulging the eccentric hobbies of a noble. After that, she thought, is this really all I have to do to get the amount promised in the contract? The Marquis does not seem to be in a good mood. Did I miss something I was supposed to do? At least, he seems to like my body. She asked, is this really all I am supposed to do? The Marquis replied, did my aide force you to sign the contract without proper explanation? Riv spoke, he simply told me to spend time with you while undressed. The Marquis told her, you heard correctly. Riv continued, I thought perhaps you wanted something more from me. The Marquis stated, from you. I thought you were different from the other women who follow me around, but it seems I was mistaken. Riv said, no, that's not what I meant. This situation is not exactly normal. The Marquis told her, yes, as you said, I have uncommon tastes, which is why I paid to have you sit before me. So keep quiet and be a pretty flower for me, will you? You are not quite worthy of being called a statue yet. Riv thought, that blatant sneer, from the moment the contract was signed, he has shown no intention of maintaining even the minimum decorum. Perhaps he needs someone to insult freely, not as a person, but just as a tool. I am used to such treatment. Scene change. Marcel said, "You look unwell. Did I ask too much of you today?" Riv replied, "No, it's just something on my mind." Marcel asked, "Is it something important?" Riv replied, "It's nothing." She thought, "Just one extra day of work, and I won't have to worry about rent or medicine for a month. I could never dream of spending leisure time at a coffee house otherwise. All I did was stay in the room with the Marquis, but why am I so tired?" Then she said, "Anyway, the reason Million stopped the lessons is not because of any issue with your teaching. I received the same notification." Marcel said, "I guess I was just being too hasty. Hearing that makes me feel better." Riv told him, "I'm glad. It's nice to have someone to talk to about Million." After some chatting, Marcel spoke, "Since I asked for this meeting, I will pay for the coffee. If it bothers you that much, you can treat me next time." Riv thought, he is a good person, showing consideration with small gestures without making a fuss. If I were a bit younger and in better circumstances, I might have felt something for this man, but now. Oh no, this is not good. Brett came and said, "Fancy seeing you here, and who is this?" Riv replied, "This is Million's art teacher. We were discussing some teaching methods." Brett spoke, "I see. Please take good care of her. I am a painter too." Riv asked, "Are you not leaving your companions waiting?" Brett replied, "Right. How forgetful I am. Just between us, I think something good is about to happen. See you later." Riv thought, that man does not seem like a Brett. Useful, proud, Marcel said. An unexpected connection indeed. Riv asked, "Do you know him?" Marcel replied, "You mean the artist who fails at every exhibition, but he has been singing from the rooftops about his new wealthy patron." How could I not? Riv thought, a new patron. After that, she thought, since that day, during the painting sessions, I closely observed Brett and the Marquis's interactions. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Was it just Brett spreading rumors? The Marquis asked, "You have been glancing at me all day. Do you have something to say?" Riv replied, "No, I don't. It's just, I always see you drinking." The Marquis asked, "Would you like a glass?" Riv thought, I just said the first thing that came to mind. It would be strange to act interested and then refuse. The Marquis continued, "You might like it, it is quite sweet." Riv drank it and said, "It is not sweet at all." The Marquis asked, "You don't drink, do you?" Riv replied, "I'm just not used to it." The Marquis said carefully, "There, you want to make sure you've got enough sense to dress yourself. I don't have room to house a drunkard for the night." Then he remembered, people were shouting, "Help us, please help us." After that, a maid told him, "My lord, your bath is ready." The Marquis thought, God does not save humankind. The only thing that can is humankind itself. After some time, the Marquis thought, even now, after everything is over, these marks still hurt from time to time. Sometimes, I even smell blood and feel the sensation of bugs crawling all over me, pulling me back to that day. In those moments, I think of an unblemished, untouched body and find some peace. Until now, that has only been limited to works of art. I have never found such calm with a living human body, and then that stain, not bad at all. This is something different, it gives me so much calmness. I must be going mad. Next scene. Riv asked, "What is this? Why was this hidden under the bed?" Cora said, "Why are you going through my stuff? It is nothing." Riv spoke, "Were you working behind my back? What if you got hurt? You bleed easily. You know it is dangerous to handle things like that. I told you I will take care of the money, so just focus on taking care of yourself. When did I ever ask you to earn money?" Cora shouted, "I just wanted to be helpful. You were always struggling. I thought if I helped, you could rest a bit. If it was not for this illness, I could live normally and not worry you, like everyone else." Riv spoke, "I am sorry. I was too harsh," Cora said. "No, I am the one who is sorry." Riv told her, "You will get better soon. There is a new medicine that has been developed. I will find a way to cure your illness. After that, Riv thought, the largest apothecary in Buerno is Hylop. Maybe I can find information about the new medicine here. Suddenly, a guard asked, do you have a reservation? I will need to check your details before I escort you in. Riv replied, no, I don't, so only those with reservations can visit. Please take this for now, then how do I make a reservation? The guard replied, I am sorry, but that won't be possible, all slots are fully booked. Riv thought, how did I not see this coming? Of course, a place dealing with nobles would not take someone like me. Then she remembered the Marquis saying, pray to me, who knows, you might just get a miracle. Riv thought, why is he coming to mind now? On the other hand, the secretary said it seems her time at Clement's boarding school was not entirely smooth either. Being in an eco-education school and a commoner among nobles, she likely faced scorn. Marquis asked, and what about her previous occupations? The secretary replied, she had a good reputation as a temporary teacher, but in the two households, where she worked as a live-in governess, the reactions were less favorable. At Viscount Karen's household, she was dismissed for allegedly trying to seduce the eldest son, and at Count Lucette's, she was fired for a supposed lack of teaching ability. Though in saying that, it seems there were other reasons. Rumors had already spread as if they were facts. Marquis spoke, I see why she fled from the capital to the countryside. A woman without support is more vulnerable to gossip. Very well, you may go. Then he thought, it will be quite an easy match. The more someone has to hide, the easier they are to manipulate. After that, Rita spoke, why is it so hard to catch you these days? Isn't this a catalog from Hylop's apothecary? People like us wouldn't dare set foot in there. Things must be going well for you. Riv asked, what do you mean? Things are going well for me. Rita replied, someone said that you're riding a fancy carriage home. Riv thought, the Marquise's carriage that takes me to and from the estate every day. Rita continued, you're not involved in anything dangerous, are you? Riv replied, I'm just doing some simple clerical work. Where did you hear such things? Rita said, I only heard it as a rumor, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm just worried because that's what people in town are saying. You know how the gossip mill is around here. Riv spoke, rumors are just rumors. Next scene. The Marquis asked, you haven't stopped sighing since you came in. Do you find this work tedious? Riv replied, not at all. I'm sorry for giving you that impression. The Marquis said, well, if you are, then go ahead. Riv asked, my lord, what is this? The Marquis told her, put it on. After that, he said, I thought it would suit you. Just like the wine, keep it. If you find it too burdensome to wear, you can sell it. Riv spoke, no, I couldn't, such expensive jewelry. The Marquis asked, weren't you the one who said you needed money? Riv replied, the extra pay you are giving me now is more than enough, and it would look suspicious if my lifestyle were to change too drastically. The Marquis told her, it already looks that way. Were you robbed? Riv replied, no, it's just that the luxurious carriage you provided caused some misunderstandings. The Marquis asked, then do you want me to escort you myself? Riv replied, no, I'm not asking anything of you. The Marquis stated, go ahead, ask me. Riv thought, this is not a request. It is a command. She wondered, why does the Marquis keep wanting me to say such things? She asked, why would I make demons of you, my lord? The Marquis said, why would you not, but if you must know, I am curious. I wonder how far a person, who stands tall even while stripped bare can be pushed beyond their limits. Riv spoke, if you don't like me, there are other ways. The Marquis replied, I don't understand why you think I dislike you. Isn't there more evidence to suggest you have caught my eye? Riv asked, what do you mean? Then she thought, now I understand. This is just how he is. A man with a perverse taste for watching someone sit naked for hours. Someone who wields such arrogant and ruthless words as if they are right. Riv told him, I understand that your lordship is curious about me, but are you not sure if that is a good thing? The Marquis stated, you are more difficult than I expected. I should have known from your stiff posture that you are just as rigid in character. That is enough for today. After that day, the Marquis stopped coming to our painting sessions. The extra hours were also halted indefinitely, in an effort to make up for lost time. Brett's painting work sped up. and lessons with Million resumed as well. Million spoke, I have a problem. The truth is, I missed classes because I fought with my friends, Riv thought. So there really was something wrong, just as I worried there might be. Million continued, after Lord Dittrion visited my birthday party, they mocked me, saying I bought the Marquis's favor. So I told them the Marquis is not someone who could be swayed by money and that they were the ones being materialistic, and then they started crying. Riv asked, you want to make up with them, then how about trying this? She thought, Lord, all he did was visit the same mansion twice, but it was enough to stir so much trouble. The root cause of this uncomfortable situation is probably the Marquis. No, more precisely, it is people's desires. Was it really the right choice to reject the Marquis's favor, even though returning to normal life was what I wanted? An inexplicable unease followed. The streets are deserted today. Was I hearing things? It is not my imagination. Someone is following me. Why? Because of the rumor that my situation has improved. If I had known, I would have been more careful. Would anyone come if I screamed? If I threw them the money I have on me, it would be no use. Then she shouted, help. The next moment, Riv thought, what is going on? Is he dead? Who on earth? The secretary asked, are you all right? Come with me. The Marquis is waiting. After that, the secretary said, I have brought Miss. She twisted her ankle when she fell, but she will be fine with enough rest. The Marquis spoke, you have a wound. After that, the Marquis asked, are you all right? Riv thought, I am very much indebted to you, my lord. How can I repay this kindness? The Marquis spoke, this neighborhood seems quite unsafe. Riv replied, it is not usually like this. It was not always such a rough alley. The Marquis spoke, the problem is that you are a target, likely due to the misunderstanding we talked about earlier. I will provide you with accommodation, Riv said. Accommodation, that is far too. The Marquis stated, you still don't welcome my interest, it seems. Can you say with all confidence that you will be able to keep taking this path? There is no guarantee that today's incident won't happen again, and each time, you will have to pray for a lucky escape. I am sure you recall that our contract stipulated that until the signee's services are no longer required. I don't want to see you neglecting your duties over trivial matters, and I want to keep you unscathed. It is a good thing I visited your neighborhood today. Riv asked, come to think of it, why were you here, my lord? The Marquis replied, well, it seems you were desperately calling for me. If I knew you would get hurt, I would have moved faster. Riv thought, could it be? She asked, was it perhaps you who fired the shot? The Marquis remembered when the secretary asked, shall I go help? The Marquis replied, wait, not yet, just a bit longer. When Riv shouted for help, the Marquis said, until they are within perfect range. Now, the Marquis asked, are you still seeking God in the chapel? It was Diwan who fired that shot. This feeling of sweet victory. I have not felt this in a while. Next scene. Corida said, wow, are we really going to live here now? Riv asked, do you like it? Corida replied, of course. Riv thought for a while, peaceful days continue, a safe and warm place without danger, a plentiful supply of Corida's medicine. Corida asked, you are going to work again today, have a good day. Riv thought, I must admit, all the benefits I enjoy come from his interest in me, and I need it. Scene change. Riv asked, what do you mean you can't work on the painting today? Did the Marquis approve that? Brett replied, I delivered a letter yesterday. Riv asked, this is not just any old job, you have been working so hard on it lately, why the sudden change? Brett replied, I am feeling a bit unwell. Riv asked, at least be honest with me. Brett said, if I finish the painting too quickly, it might be a problem. If I complete the painting, I will lose my connection with the Marquis, and I have not even gotten his signature on the patronage contract yet. Riv asked, why do you need a patronage contract? Don't tell me you are gambling again. Brett replied, no, of course not. The truth is, while I was drunk, I caught the eye of a wealthy noble. I mentioned I might be securing myself a patron. Riv thought, so he is using Lord Dittrion's name. Brett continued, he is a famous businessman, who offered to sell my paintings in the capital and even hold a private exhibition for me. But since I have not debuted, I need some kind of proof of my skill. A guarantee of sorts, Riv thought. Even so, he is taking it too far. Brett continued, but the rental fees I have paid for the venue will all be waived if I bring the patronage contract. Riv asked, you have already paid the venue fees, don't you think this all sounds rather suspicious? Brett shouted, you think I am an idiot just because I have not debuted, don't you? Riv replied, you know that is not what I mean. Brett continued, why would the Marquis insist that I keep painting? Obviously, because he likes my work. I just need to buy a bit more time. Before my next piece, I will develop a groundbreaking oil painting technique that will captivate the Marquis. After that, the Marquis spoke, if the painter is too ill to work, the model need not have come either. Did you come just to deliver the message? Riv replied, partly, but also to express my gratitude for your help. The Marquis said, I recall receiving your thanks on the day itself. Riv told him, the thing is, I also came to check if our agreement about the extra hours is also suspended. The Marquis spoke, diligent, I see, are you injured? Riv replied, I am fine, it is healing, she thought, right, the wounds have not fully healed yet, considering what he hired me for, I suppose it is natural he would not want to see something diminished in value. The Marquis spoke, let's start early today. After that, Riv thought, I have never been in this room before. The Marquis asked, do you play? Riv replied, a little. Then she started playing the piano. The Marquis started unbuttoning her clothes, then he said, you know, miss, I prefer a flawless body, but I find it strange. Yours seems like it would be alright even if it is a little tarnished. Riv asked, what do you mean by a little tarnished? The Marquis said, by anything, preferably in a way that pleases me. Riv thought, until now, the Marquis has always seen me as a mere accessory, never anything more. I am not naive enough to be completely oblivious to the tension between us. Then she said, you attended Lady Million's birthday party. I am sure you are already aware, but your presence sparked much speculation. I don't know you well, but I have heard you don't usually mingle with the nobility, so why did you? The Marquis asked, why do you care? Riv replied, because I am her governess. Since your visit, Million's life has been in turmoil. A teacher's concern for her student, if you must know. She thought, was I mistaken? The Marquis stated, I was there to see you because the person you were there is different from the one I know. Riv thought, did he really come to Million's birthday just to see me? Then she said, that can't be. The Marquis told her, your response is rather lackluster. Isn't that what you wanted to know? Riv replied, frankly, I am not sure how I should interpret your interest, my lord. The Marquis said, well, I had not really thought about it. I will leave that up to you. Riv thought. Thinking back, the Marquis has always treated me differently, but why go to such lengths? Could it be that he likes me? Even as she doubted her own thoughts, a part of her clung to that small hope. Riv spoke, I have a sick younger sister. I heard the Dominion Medical Institute has developed a new drug that could improve her condition. But I have no way to obtain it. If you could find any information on how I could, no, if your lordship could help with her treatment. The Marquis asked, if I could. Riv replied, I would do anything. The Marquis told her, you have nothing of value to offer me, but actually, on second thought, there is something, you amuse me. So keep entertaining me, and fortune will visit your doorstep every day. Bring your sister, I will introduce you to a good doctor. The next day, the butler asked, do you like fruit tarts? Cora replied, yes, I love them. Riv thought, unlike the Marquis's other residences, this place feels warm and inviting. The butler said, there is a large arboretum with a glass greenhouse behind the mansion. It is this old man's pride and joy. It is a lovely place for a walk. You should visit it sometime. Riv replied, that sounds wonderful. Cora asked, is the owner of this mansion the one who wants to help us? Riv replied, yes. Cora asked, have you met him? What is he like? It's strange. We are not the only unfortunate people in the world. Yet someone who lives in such a grand mansion is so quick to help us. What if he wants something else, like your beauty? Riv thought, not quite, but close. The Marquis does want something from me. The butler said, this way, Miss Cora. Riv spoke, my sister has had experience with doctors. Cora told her, it's okay, I've got this. The maid asked, would you like to meet the master now? After that, the Marquis spoke. I must consider their feelings too, send a rejection. Riv thought, the atmosphere feels different today. Something tells me he is displeased. Is this not a good time? The Marquis asked, do you know how to write? Riv replied, yes, I have had a few lessons. The Marquis said, what do you say we go on a hunt? After some time, Riv asked, do you enjoy hunting, my lord? The Marquis replied, not at all. It is something I do because I must. Sometimes, taking a life is unavoidable. Seeing someone shoot for the first time, Riv replied, I have never been exposed to it. The Marquis said, you must have been raised most delicately. Riv replied, had I been, I would not be here with you. The Marquis spoke, I get the feeling you are fulfilling my request to entertain me. Riv thought, the Marquis was right, our bond is growing, and if I am being honest, I am secretly pleased. Then she replied, you are correct. The Marquis said, quick to admit it, I see. Riv spoke, I have already thought long and hard about how to interpret your interest. The Marquis asked, and what have you decided? Riv replied, to accept it as it is. I will come when called and leave when told. If you offer help, I will take it. The Marquis asked, and if I tell you to undress? Riv replied, then I will undress. The Marquis signaled everyone to return. Let's finish up here. Riv asked, is the hunt over? The Marquis replied, didn't you just say you will undress if asked, or do you prefer the outdoors? Next scene. The butler spoke, my lord, Miss Corida's examination is complete. Then he told him the details. After that, the Marquis said, anyone would think you were the patient. Are you still worried even though the examination went well? Your sister is not that young anymore. Riv replied, actually, a previous doctor once bled her excessively. It nearly killed her. He then insisted on exploratory surgery to check her head. The Marquis told her, the doctor I recommended is my personal physician. He is highly skilled, so there is no need to worry. Riv replied, thank you, my lord. The Marquis told her, I find the scent helps lift my spirits. Then he thought, memories of the war left me with terrible sensations and hallucinations and occasionally brought on a blood-red urge. A recurring intense violence, the urge would only subside after witnessing death, blood staining the earth red, and cold, stiffened bodies, yet, astonishingly, all of that eased with just a few words of conversation. The Marquis said, perhaps it was too much for you. Then, first, you will have to learn. Then they started kissing. Riv thought, the bitter scent of withered leaves, every nerve focused on the slow, deliberate movement, where he presses, where he touches. He feels so vivid. The Marquis said, hopefully, that was helpful. Riv asked, what was helpful? The Marquis replied, a helpful demonstration on how to roll the smoke in your mouth. I can't say I am experienced in teaching. So I don't know if this lesson will be effective, but since you are diligent, I am sure you will pick it up. For 3 days after, Riv thought, my life was a mess. Even though I knew well he could not possibly like me, the fact remained that I was the only exception to his usual fastidious demeanor. And the urge I felt to throw myself at him, for a greater thrill, left me confused. I never knew I had such desires, like being caught in a sweet trap. I find myself struggling. What a fool. After that, Riv asked, the mansion seems busy today. Is something going on? Million replied, haven't you heard? Cardinal Calliope is visiting Buerno. Riv thought, unlike the countless nobles in every country, a cardinal is one of the very few clergy specially selected. They hold a position that could lead the church in the future. Million spoke, perhaps my parents will host the cardinal during the visit. Riv asked, at the barony, that would be a great honor. If the cardinal himself is coming, wouldn't Lord Dittrion take charge? Million replied, the Marquis usually does not care about visitors, no matter how important. Of course, it might be different with the cardinal. Mr. Marcel knows one of the nobles accompanying the cardinal, so naturally, they will be hosted at our house. Riv thought, if he is hosting the cardinal, he must be from quite a prestigious noble family, but what exactly does he do to have such acquaintances? Why is he living as an art teacher in this rural town? At that moment, Marcel came and asked, I heard you moved in a hurry. Is everything all right? Riv replied, yes, everything is fine, but how did you know? Marcel replied. I found out by chance while talking with Million. Riv asked, did you need something from me? Marcel replied, I always do, Million said. I forgot, Mother asked me to do something. After that, Marcel said, there are many nobles who cherish and love beautiful art, and when you associate with such people as much as I do, you get to know a few things. Riv thought, perhaps he might know a bit about the Marquis, then she asked, do you know anything about Lord Dittrion? It's just that I heard he won't be hosting the Cardinal this time, so I was curious. Marcel stated, I suggest you don't take too much interest in the Marquis. Riv thought, what? Why would he? Marcel spoke, I feel like I am watching a friend go down a dark path. So, are you interested in Lord Dittrion like everyone else? Riv replied, not at all. He thought, I guess I was mistaken earlier, then continued, it just feels like I will be bumping into him a lot through Million, so I thought it best to know more. Marcel spoke, well, to put it simply, I don't know much about him. I don't even know which country his family is from, and since his family history is shrouded in mystery, naturally, so is his past, we don't even know if he is really a Marquis. Riv said, but everyone calls him one. Marcel replied, yes, he has been a Marquis since he appeared in Buerno, but he could not have been a Marquis from the very beginning. After that, Riv thought, what on earth did that mean? Mr. Marcel spoke as if it was all a joke, but I couldn't help but feel concerned. I did not plan to stay until late, but an unexpected meeting really waylaid me. I need to get back quickly. The Marquis came and spoke, you finished later than expected. Then, in the carriage, Riv asked, why are you here? The Marquis replied, what sort of escort would I be if I did not come? Riv asked, you came all this way to escort me. The Marquis spoke, I heard you were afraid of dark streets, so you planned to take a carriage after your shifts. How were you planning to get home without me? Riv replied, by taking a shared carriage. The Marquis told her, a shared carriage would not drop you off at your door. You planned to walk the dark streets alone, despite being afraid. Riv thought, did he really come just for my sake? This is the first time I have seen him since that day. He seems so composed, I knew it. Only I have been thinking about our kiss all this time. Then she said, you have my gratitude, thank you for bringing me home. I will make sure this does not happen again. The Marquis spoke, I hope you have been reviewing our lesson. Riv thought, what did he just say? The Marquis continued, if you need a refresher, allow me. Riv thought, a bright red warning light flashes in my head. She remembered Marcel saying, I have heard the Marquis has a severe mental illness and hates physical contact. He can't even shake hands or hold long conversations. I have never heard of any noble dining with him. Riv thought about Marcel's words. The warning sounded in her mind. The image of the Marquis before her swirled into a chaotic mess in her thoughts. No, I know what people say about him, but why not? Those words don't apply to me, do they? That's right. Only I know this side of the Marquis, like the scent of a strange cigar. Then she said, please remind me, my lord. The Marquis spoke, certainly. After that, Riv thought, before long, we received Corida's diagnosis. Please let it be good news. Corida spoke, what did they say? So many words. The next moment, Riv hugged her and spoke, it is not an untreatable disease. They say it might even be fully cured. She thought, based on the results, Corida has an illness called scerbera. It is a new disease, discovered less than 3 years ago. Research is still ongoing. With consistent treatment and new medication, a full recovery is expected. Then she remembered that the secretary told her, his lordship is not yet privy to the results himself. However, he said he would proceed with the treatment plan for Miss Corida's recovery, whatever it may be. She thought, that means he will support Corida's treatment in any way. Riv spoke, finally, you are going to get better, you truly will. After some time, the Marquis asked, so, this is your sister's diagnosis? Riv replied, yes, thank you, my lord. You introduced us to the doctor, so I thought it was only right to show you. Thanks to you, my sister will receive proper treatment and about the future medical expenses. The Marquis asked, are you worried that those minor expenses would burden me? Riv replied, of course, I know that would not be the case. She thought, I got so caught up in the good news that I forgot for a moment, the Marquis and I have a one-sided relationship. The Marquis spoke, if it really bothers you, then as I said before, entertain me, that will be your payment. Riv asked, how? The Marquis replied, that is for you to figure out. Riv thought, I have to keep the Marquis interested, entertain him, show him what he wants, give him what he desires. The Marquis spoke, you are all better now. The next moment, he threw her on the bed, then said, you know I desire you, don't you? Riv thought, I do. In fact, she said, yes. The Marquis asked, are you tempting me on purpose? Riv replied, yes, my lord, I am. Then they started kissing. The Marquis touched her body, then he asked, I gather you have done this before? Riv replied, no, the Marquis spoke, you could have fooled me, is it because you are used to undressing in front of strange men? Riv replied, I am not, please, my lord, not there. The Marquis told her, I asked you to entertain me, but it seems you are the only one having fun, how insolent. Riv said, you seem to be enjoying yourself enough, tormenting me. The Marquis replied, I would hardly call this tormenting, I have not even started yet. The Marquis thought, I have always thought such a text was disgraceful, subjecting another to a repulsive, scarred body, not to mention all the ragged breathing and bodily fluids. So, feeling a strange thirst for this woman was unprecedented, I took my time taming her. From proposing those extra hours, where she was stiff with fear until I told her to undress, to now, when she undresses herself without being asked, so perhaps this thirst will be quenched once I get a taste. Riv spoke, that is too fast, I can't. The Marquis replied, you can. Why else are we here? Something is going to snap if you don't relax. Riv replied, my lord, please just hold still for a moment. The Marquis asked, I will if you have a valid reason. Go on, convince me. Riv replied, I can barely breathe. The Marquis spoke, you are breathing just fine now. Riv told him, I can't hold on any longer. The Marquis stated, the human body does not give out so easily, it is tougher than you think. Riv asked, did you not say you are in pain too? Maybe we should take it slower. Then she thought, this man never intended to listen to a word I said. The Marquis spoke, I said it felt like something would snap, not that it hurt. Riv thought, this is something new, and spoke, it feels strange. The Marquis replied, of course, it feels good, so remember this feeling well, it is okay to enjoy it. Pleasure is not something to be ashamed of. Consider this your first lesson. Riv thought, no, I don't think so right now. The Marquis thought, someone once told me, God must have sent you to me. In all my life, I have never heard anything more laughable, but now, I understand those absurd words. Oddly enough, I feel more certain than ever that God must have sent this woman to me. Then he remembered the past. The boy was born on the streets, he never knew his father, his loving and diligent mother was a humble woman, and one of the most devout believers in the village. He loved watching her pray, she looked more peaceful and happy in the chapel than at any other time. The boy prayed too, please protect this peace. But God did not heed the young boy's prayers. The year he turned 7, war broke out, a bomb struck the chapel, burying his mother under the rubble. His mother's face was peaceful, as if she was in prayer. Only then did the boy realize the reason his mother had chosen this small village with a chapel, why her prayers were serene even in the midst of war. It was because of the meeting that would come after her death. She had been waiting. The person said, how could she make such a choice? The Marquis thought, for him, it was not unusual for priests to take in war orphans, so no one found it strange. That person said, God must have sent you to me. That day, the boy realized how high a position that priest aspired to. He also realized just how much he resembled his father. The next morning, Riv thought, when I woke up, the Marquis had disappeared, as if it had all been a dream. But the marks left on my body and the lingering warmth told me otherwise. I had indeed been with the Marquis. It was undoubtedly provocative and blissful, an experience of ecstasy I had never known before. The Marquis remained composed until the end, while I lost myself several times, but even after what happened, I felt a strange emptiness. The Marquis was not much different from usual. He said, I have instructed the artist to stop working on the paintings for now. He kept pestering me to sponsor him, claiming he would develop a new art technique, but when I refused, he fell ill. Riv said, I know Brett can seem a little headless, but I am sure he did not mean any harm. The Marquis spoke, you were quite eager to defend that artist. What is the nature of your relationship? Riv told him, when I settled in Buerno and was looking for a house, he saved me from being scammed. The Marquis spoke, the artist's behavior has not been the best, so it might be wise to distance yourself a bit, for your sister's safety as well. Riv asked, what does Corita have to do with this? The Marquis replied, it seems you don't know who the artist is involved with, they are quite unsavory characters. You could be in danger just for being his model. If you try to help him and end up getting hurt, your sister would be left alone. Riv asked, your lordship would not just stand by if I were in danger. The Marquis asked, are you sure? Riv said, you never have. The Marquis spoke, so this is what it feels like to teach a student who learns quickly. Then they started kissing. Riv asked, my lord, was it not over? The Marquis replied, a diligent student deserves a reward, don't they? Now, back in the present time, the secretary spoke, I know it is impolite this early in the morning, but there is an urgent matter, take this. It is a contraceptive pill. Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.